Congratulations! You've made it to lesson 4. Well, let's hop in. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place. Unlike the preceding ones, these exercises do not begin with the idea for the day. In these practice periods, begin with noting the thoughts that are crossing your mind for a minute. Then apply the idea to them. If you are already aware of unhappy thoughts, use them as subjects for the idea. Do not, however, select only the thoughts you think are bad. You will find, if you train yourself to look at your thoughts, that they represent such a mixture that, in a sense, none of them can be called good or bad. This is why they do not mean anything. In selecting the subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. Do not be afraid to use good thoughts as well as bad. None of these represents your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. The good ones are but shadows of what lies beyond, and shadows make sight difficult. That sounds weird. The good ones are shadows, but we learn that as you go through the material, you start to understand that most people are living about this much of their potential and seeing about this much of the good out there. And so what we think of as good right now in the course is nothing compared to what we will see as good. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either. This is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you in the first steps towards the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful within. It is also the beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. In using your thoughts for the application of the idea for today, identify each thought by the central figure or event it contains. For example, this thought about blank does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room, on this street, and so on. You can also use the idea for a particular thought that you recognize as harmful. This practice is useful, but is not a substitute for the more random procedures to be followed for the exercises. Do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. Further, since these exercises are the first of their kind, you may find the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts particularly difficult. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. Okay, so this one's a little different because we're doing it more than twice. So it just says 3 or 4 times. Notice it doesn't say you must do 4 times. Again, this is a loosey-goosey program. So it's going to start with our thoughts. For this exercise, you just sit and let a thought come, whatever the thought is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it's about. It doesn't matter what it's about. It's not whether it's good or bad. It doesn't matter. Any thought. I'm going to sit here and just let some thoughts come. I started thinking about how windy it is outside. It's so windy that it sounds like I'm at the beach. This thought about the wind does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room. Okay, I started thinking, I can't think of any thoughts. I'm supposed to be doing this lesson and I can't think any thoughts. No thoughts are coming. That's a thought. This thought about trying to think of thoughts does not mean anything. It's like the things I see in this room. So you'll just do this for about a minute. Try to get 3 or 4 sessions in today. It's okay if you don't. If you have a hard time getting 3 or 4 sessions in, don't feel bad. Just do your best. If you only get 2 in, that's okay. Maybe you want to do the exercise again tomorrow and do 2 today and 2 tomorrow. I have a note in mine that I wrote I don't know when. It could have been when I did this the first time. I'm not sure if this quote is from my own insight or if it's from something else. If it's something else, please let me know if you recognize it. It says, "You are not your thoughts. There is something prior to thoughts, and that is God, the peace of God." And that's what we're trying to get to, is that peaceful place where we can just be. You're here, you're doing the lessons. If you feel still that this doesn't make sense, you don't know why you're doing it, just trust. I'm on lesson 164, and today I thought, what am I doing? I don't get any of this. It doesn't make any sense. So I just meditated and asked the source, my higher self, to please help me understand what the heck I am reading. And I just sat with that for a little while. And then I went back to the text, and lo and behold, so much more understanding had come. As I read it, it was as if I was reading something that I had not read before, and it made sense, and I was so grateful. So if you're not understanding something, or if you find it confusing or dumb, or you have some kind of judgment of it, it's probably a good idea to sit with that for a moment. Try to ask for help and be open, because understanding will come. In the Course in Miracles, it is promised, anyone searching for truth will find it. Anyone working the program will be successful. So good luck. Have a wonderful day, whatever it is you're going to do.